when I heard that the anticipated rate or target would be perhaps 1.5% by the end of 2016, by the end of 17, 2.5%, I kind of sat back and had a tough time believing that for two reasons. Number one, if that were to happen while Europe is easing, the dollar would most likely strengthen, historically speaking, which is going to make it very, very difficult for it to hit that 2% inflation marker.
Right.
The other thing is to keep the spread between short-term and long-term rates at about 2%,
right,
not compress it. That means that the 10-year Treasury would have to be between 4 and 5%, which I don't see how that's going to happen at a time when there's quantitative easing abroad.
And we'll come back to the implications of that in just a moment. Richard Fisher, just to this point, we kind of raised with you and with Art just now, is it, if this is now Janet Yellen's Fed, is it a Fed that will continue to basically hand us each time what they're going to do, gradual meaning, hey, we'll pretty much go once every other meeting? Is there something to be said for keeping that sense of mystery? I mean, in a sense, aren't all markets going to take the same kind of bets and go the same way as long as they're given the same message from the Fed?
Well, I understand Stan Fisher's concern, and that's the way Volcker used to operate, but I think in the modern era, it's important to signal as much as possible, perhaps not as much at the first turn, which we've just taken, but try to get the markets to discount what is likely to happen. It lowers volatility. It doesn't eliminate vol, but it lowers it. And I think it's important. I want to mention one thing very quickly that I hope you all will discuss. The key test here will be how the reverse repo facility, the overnight reverse repo facility, actually works. And they've expanded the purview in this meeting. And that will be the key operating tool. Obviously, on the other side, you have the interest on excess reserves. It's that overnight reverse repo facility, which even while I was there, we were building, giving more test room for. But this will be the first real test to see if it can be used properly, which I believe it will, to keep the Fed funds rate at the targeted rate. And that will be the most interesting thing to me to watch here, in addition to the fact that there's been a turn towards the Yellen era.
We will discuss that, but I know that you have to leave in less than a minute. So let me just finish up with you before we get back to the rest of our panel here. How aggressive do you think the Fed will be in 2016 with raising rates? Or really, truly, does it depend on the data down the road?
Well, we've gone through this forward guidance exercise. Initially, we had date forward guidance, and then we had quantitative forward guidance. Let me summarize what forward guidance is in two words. It's we'll see. And I think that's what Janet basically said. It really is a matter of feel and, of course, looking at the data. I don't expect them to immediately follow through. I think they'll take some time, digest what happened. But they also have to be mindful, by the way, in the second half of this next year, that they're going to get involved in a presidential cycle. No central bank wants to be involved in a presidential cycle. So if they do want to move further, they might want to front load a little bit, but not very much.